Hello, Big Brother fans. Review of episode 19 of Big Brother 14. This was an exciting episode. Fast forward an entire week. Poor Ian doesn't get a HOH. He doesn't get all the things that come with it. Anyway, that was skipping ahead. Here we go. Start off with Boogie was so mad after being nominated that he was just running roughshod all over Dan. And Dan is the cool man. He's the one that just refuses to respond, and he can continue reading his Bible and nothing, It's like a duck on the water, It's like, just let it go, smooth sailing ahead. And meanwhile, Ian is sitting and watching and listening all of this, and as Boogie just continues, to go to war on Dan. And I think that was getting to Dan a little bit more than actually Boogie was. That Ian didn't step up to the plate and say, listen, But in a way, it did kind of serve them. He this week it wasn't, I guess it wasn't shown, but he still did have inside ears on everything. As you see, as we fast forward and I tell you that Boogie was the one that was voted out, he was absolutely blindsided. Absolutely. Anyway, Jen said, took Shane aside and said that she was going to start playing rough, and then she goes to the next person and says, I'm going to really put it into motion. It's really going to start this, right after this, and blah blah blah. And I have a feeling that Jen is all show no go. I don't think that girl has any game in her, to tell you the truth. If she had any, do you think that it wouldn't have? Don't you think it would have shown before now? I mean, seriously. I don't know. I also can't respect the person who doesn't at the very least try. Maybe she's trying. Maybe she's just not good enough. I don't know. Then they were told that the second person, that they were going to have a double elim, and that the second person that was evicted was going to be the first jury member. Ashley and Frank were the only two that voted to keep Boogie, which means that Ashley voted against Jen. It was 5-2, and Boogie was gone. So Boogie goes out and he talks to Julie, and Julie said, you hugged Frank and said that Ian was not to be trusted, but Ian whispered something into your ear. What did he say? He said, he told me get to step in, which is something that Boogie said to a past house guest. So I love that some of his things were turned back on him, and I think he's man enough that, that he can appreciate it. You know what I mean? Because when they were doing the goodbye messages and Brittany, I laughed out loud on that one, did the ring, 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 and then that laugh, he was a good enough sport to, to be able to laugh along with it. Dan confessed that he wasn't the one that ratted him out, and I hope that, Boogie, at least starts to think about that. And then Ian came out and confessed everything. And Boogie was so blindsided and so impressed, that he took his hat off to Ian. I thought that was very, very fun. And I think that, of course, that's going to be Ian's, claim to fame now, right? Anyway, so we go back and we have to do the HOH. And as Frank had warned Ian, throw the first competition and make the second one the one that you're going to win, if at all. Well, he felt that he would do better, he being Ian. Ian felt that he would do better doing the first competition because they'd been prepped, than the second competition. And then when we saw the second competition, I'm like, why did he fear that? You know what I mean? It's like he was the first one to come back with the clover, didn't he? No. Yeah, he was the first one to come back with a clover. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Anyway, they did the before and after, and Ian won. And then we cut back in the house because nominations are going to have to be held. But we came back and it was Ian talking to Joe, saying, you go up against Shane, okay? Give me 1 week. I want to know what that's about. So if any of you were watching the live feeds I think they usually cut it though during the the live events or whatever. If anybody happened to catch a little bit more about that than I did, let me know. So we came back and Ian nominated Frank and Ashley, apologizing, and then we do the POV, which was find clovers one at a time in the pile of balls, bring it back. You can only do one at a time. Then you have to go back, go get the POV symbol, blah, blah, blah. And Frank won. Which means he's put up on the block once again and is able to come back down once again. Now, people, why didn't they consider backdooring him? I mean, there's always that chance that it wouldn't, but whatever. Okay, so anyway, of course he uses it, and they put Joe up as a replacement. And then at first I wrote here, is Ashley drugged? Because I know, she had that back issue. But it's just, she just rambles and doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then she explained it, saying that, that she's obviously not articulate and is not, blessed in that way. And then Julie had to end up cutting her off without her making any sense or any point whatsoever. She wanted to, start saying, Ian, I wanted, we trusted you and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, sit down. Joe, best speech ever, and he didn't say a word. The hand motions, hilarious. Just saying, that was hilarious. So then Jen went in and she did her vote, and she voted to evict Ashley, which at first I thought was a shocker, because I thought that they had mended their ways, but then I remembered that earlier in the evening, Ashley had voted against her to make her leave. So it made sense all the way around So then we have Frank, who was the only vote to vote out Joe, and Ashley was evicted. Interestingly enough, when Dan went in to do his vote, he didn't compliment Julie. I was trying to think, what is he going to say this time? And maybe he was warned ahead of time, we're running shy on time, so, just do your vote and don't, do the whole hi Miss Chan or Mrs. Chan or whatever. So that was kind of sad, because that wasn't Dan, and he did seem a little weird when he went in to go give his vote. I think he was really kind of sad that things had worked out the way it did. Anyway, Ashley was evicted. She's the first jury member, and I loved when Ashley came out and said to Julie, "I love your side pony," and Julie was kind of taken aback, and she was like, "That was so sweet of you." Anyway, they had their little their little speech, and of course there were no goodbye messages to her because they didn't know it was a double 11. So yeah. Ashley goes off to the jury house, and that's that with that. I already put up my spoiler as to who won the POV right after that, and so things are going to be getting extremely interesting. It has started, finally, for me at least, getting really good. So I will see you tomorrow with spoilers. Bye.